Welcome everyone to Annabelle's Finquita. Today I am enjoying this fall afternoon with my girls. They're grown so fast and they're all pregnant, so we're gonna have new babies in February. This afternoon I was thinking in making a sourdough bread, so we're gonna head back into the house in my kitchen and I'll show you what I got. This is a starter that I made approximately a month ago and it's been sleeping in the refrigerator, but it needs some food. I don't measure the amount of flour and water that I add to my starter. All I'm looking for is the right consistency, not too runny, not too dense. Just mix it well and make sure there's no chunks of flour and just put it to rest. That's basically it. Very, very simple. Also, you can use any kind of flour. It doesn't matter if you mix them when it's time for feeding. So I'm using bleach bread flour in this case. And the thing here is to know when to feed it. Doesn't have to be exactly every 24 hours or every 12 hours like some people say. If you see the starter that is stopped growing and it has a little bit of liquid on top, that's a sign that it needs to be fed. Now I'm gonna put it in a warm place to go to sleep until tomorrow. And then we're gonna have the yeast ready. Alright guys, it's the next day and I'm getting ready to make that bread. Here's my starter. It did grow a lot during the night and is very bubbly and ready to be used for that special bread. Sourdough bread is very, very healthy for yourself. It's all natural and I recommend it for everyone. There's different ways to do this. What I use in my recipe is half a cup of starter. Let's start by doing that. Then the leftover starter, I put it back in the refrigerator as it is. And next time I'm gonna use it, I'll get it out and feed it again. Okay, I got here a cup of water, 1 cup of water. I don't measure with a scale. I like to use cups and my eyes. This is salt and I'm gonna add around 2 tablespoons of salt. Again, I don't measure exactly, so I use my hands, my experience while I'm cooking, so it's very difficult to get a recipe from me, but I can show you what I do and give you an idea. I want to add to this bread a little bit of sweetness because I'm going to use it mostly for sandwiches and breakfast time for me and my husband. So I'm adding a little bit of honey. You can use maple syrup or you can use sugar, whatever your preferences are. But in this case, I'm going to add a little bit of honey to make it a little bit sweet because I don't like the bread too sour. This is approximately 2 or 3 tablespoons of honey that I'm going to add. Then 1/3 of a cup of any kind of oil that you like. I'm using olive oil. You can use also butter and coconut oil, avocado oil. I mean, you name it. Whatever is your choice. You can use a different variety of flours in making your bread. You can combine them together. It doesn't have to be just one type of flour. Most people do this. In this case, I'm using bread flour. It will give density to my bread, but I'm using only 1 cup of this flour. And then I'm going to use 2 cups of all-purpose flour, which is usually used for desserts and cakes and stuff like that. But one important point here in making bread is to add the flour slowly. That way you know if you need more or you need less, because it's not always 3 cups of flour for everyone. It depends on many factors. One of them, and most important, is the altitude where you are. For example, I'm here at 2,500 feet over sea level here at the cabin, so my oven is not going to work the same as if you were at sea level. And also the amount of flour, it changes too. So it's important to add it slowly, and once you get to that consistency that you're looking for, you stop your flour. You will know this after you make bread for several times and you practice doing it. That's the way you're going to learn, like our grandmas did. Our grandmothers, great grandmothers, they didn't use scales, they didn't use, not even cups. They just measure by eye and experience. All right, so now I'm getting ready to use my hands. I'm gonna do a little bit more of mixing here, but not too much. And then I'm gonna put it to rest. I think it's pretty good at this point. I'm just going to add a little bit more of flour. I think it needs it. And I'm not kneading, I'm just trying to mix the remaining of the flour in the bowl, and that's it. Yeah, something like that. I'm gonna repeat this like 3 or 4 times, and at the end I'm gonna let it rest for the rest of the night. It's the next morning and this is looking amazing, guys. Even has bubbles on top. That's a good sign. It looks very stretchy and gummy. So I'm gonna get it out of this container, and this is gonna be my final massage to the bread. And then I'm gonna shape it and put it in the container that I'm gonna finally cook it. This is the best part. It's like playing with Play-Doh. And it smells so good. I wish you could smell this. I'm gonna put a little bit of flour on my hands. As you see, it's a little bit sticky, but that's great and very elastic. That's what you want. You don't want to smash it all. You want to keep those bubbles alive and fluffy. So I'm going to try to do this the best way possible, because I'm not a baker or anything like that. So I cannot do it pretty, but I'm sure it's going to taste really good. Okay, after 2 hours of resting, I'm gonna put it in the oven. So I preheat the oven to 400 Fahrenheit, and I'm adding an egg wash to make it a little bit more golden brown. And also I'm gonna add some sesame seeds as a final touch. I like to cover my bread for the first 20-30 minutes, depending on how big is the bread. I like to cover it first in the oven. That way it cooks through very well, kind of in the middle. And then I'll get the lid out or the paper foil out and let it cook for another 20 minutes for the final crust to be formed. It's important to let it rest at least 30 minutes, an hour before slicing your bread. That way it doesn't get too gummy. And voila, the moment of truth. really good sourdough bread.